Oh my god. My phone almost fell. So I'm in a different filming location today because today I'll be filming my final for my Link class, Ancient Magic, which crosses over with art history and Latin, because I'm a Latin minor. So I have one more class for my Latin minor after this, and then I'm out of breath from going up the stairs. Alright, I was gonna say. Oh, and also this final will be completely in Russian, so I'm just kidding. I have my Gumo Chloe Savini jersey on that I know my professor Amoroso loves, and then my China hat. So basically I'm going to be talking about religion and versus magic, what I've learned, and the stigma on both of them, and then how my perspectives of both have shifted and altered throughout this semester, and a little beyond, because I want to make the scope a little wider than just this semester, because there has been some noticeable shifts in that. So first, we talk about the difference between like what is religion and what is magic, and there are some major key differences. Religion is more like there's monotheistic, polytheism, and then so monotheism is believing in one god, polytheism is believing in multiple gods, and then magic is more of like incantations, spells, potions, love potions, things like that. And I've noticed in this class that the stigma, that the stigma of magic is much heavier in this point in time than religion. Because magic, it's like, oh, this could go wrong, that could go wrong. We look at the Livy with the mass poisonings, the women who made these love potions for their husbands, and so many people got mysteriously sick, and the women were persecuted, and they were executed. They were forced to drink their own potion, and they died, some of them. And some who refused to drink it were executed as well. There was like 175 women, if I remember correctly. And also in magic, if we look at things like incantations and curse tablets, when I say the word curse tablet, you're probably thinking that's not good. Like that can't be a good. Sorry for the background noise. My house is on a busy road too. I'm sure you know about that. I've said it multiple times, but I always like to explain myself. So before I ramble on, I hate the noise, but yeah, like also I'm in a psychotic episode, so everything's like coming in my brain like that, like this. So if I try to make sense, if I'm like talking like in cross patterns and like word salads, like I wish you the best in grading this. But I've noticed that when we talk about magic, there's so many different beliefs that are already coming into it that are negative. And like love potions, like, oh, like we talk about love potions like almost like a roofie, because the person drinking them doesn't know they're drinking a potion, and they could get sick. And for men and women that are drinking them, it's very dangerous. And stigma with religion, not speaking too conceptually or globally politically, as you know, I love to get political. I will try not to in this video, but it's still relevant to get a little bit. Because yes, there is stigma on religion, and especially polytheism in a republic like Rome. I always ask questions in class of like, well, what if somebody wasn't polytheistic? What if somebody wanted to be monotheistic? Would they be exiled or like, and yes, they would be treated not the same as a polytheistic person of the main religion, divination. So like worshiping multiple gods and versus worshiping one would not be viewed the same way as each other. There's different, based on the common religion of the time. It's like being in the United States and practicing Islam. Like, you're not going to be treated fairly or like equally as someone who this is not controversial to say either, this is a true statement, as somebody who studied religion for many years, as somebody who supports Christianity and goes by Christianity. You will not be looked at the same way as somebody who supports Christianity as someone who is Muslim or Islam in America, based on Islamophobia and post 9/11, things like that. I also want to mention too that as a Latin minor, I've taken Latin 101, 102, 201, 202, 350. So this will be my 6th Latin class. Although it's not technically Latin, it's ancient magic, but we did some translations of stuff. And oh, bad word. I didn't even say that, there's little words out. On Cybele and Attis, the poems with Catullus, all that stuff. And, you know, Cybele is like a hyperfixation of vine. I don't have autism, but it's a hyperfixation of vine because I think it's so interesting. It's so taboo, and the way we approach it, even when I talked about it in class, in like a college classroom, there were some people that like flinched. And I was like, I wasn't surprised, because like castration and emasculation is normal things to talk about, but it did happen. So we gotta be grown people here. And so the stigma on magic is more specific, I've noticed, than religion, where religion is more broad, like an entire religion receives this stigma, whereas magic, it's like, okay, that's a little weird. I'm not using the word weird in a derogatory way. I'm using the word weird in like a descriptive that college students would use, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't mean it in like that's weird. I believe it's weird. I just mean it's weird because it's off-putting or whatever to people, neurotypical people, or not even that. I don't know, but like this incantation's weird. The way they use these elements, the physical, visceral. We've learned in link classes that some magic things, you smear things on your face. You dead items like necromancy, like that happened too. Witches, the stigma of that. And then it also brings relevancy to the Salem witch trials, which, as you're all aware of them, the innocent women were killed because of widespread hysteria and mania of fear. And they weren't witches, they were just women that, I would be executed at that time based on my schizophrenia and my mental health symptoms for being a witch, like talking to things that aren't there and stuff. So I'd be screwed. So I think it's interesting in that case. But like when we talked the one link class, I remember with Dr. Tierney, when people got to the point where we talked about the smearing the things in your face, like the ointments that you make out of natural remains and like eyes of things and like quote unquote gross thing. I'm not saying gross and derogatory either. I'm just saying it in a descriptive way. It was interesting because the shift became like, oh, this is magic, and like, oh, this is like really magic. Like, this is beyond the point of an incantation. This is visceral, material things you're messing with and composing with. So when we look at it from that landscape, the visceral, like, I always question the intention with magic. With religion, there isn't much. I feel like, based on my studies in this class and outside of this class, I'm relying a lot of outside of class stuff for religion because we didn't talk a whole bunch about obviously specific religion because this is a magic course, not a religion theology course. But I have taken 3 theology courses. Now I'm taking a 4th one next semester with Dr. Dub, which I'm excited for. Ritual healing. So, but yeah, like the stigma on magic is very specific. Like, you can't do this, but you can do this. This is normal. This isn't normal. This deviates from the norm. Whereas religion, it's more umbrella. I'm like drawing like the umbrella thing. Like, it's like a vein, like veins of an umbrella. I remember in my CAE class, we talked about like coercion and persuasion as like veins of argumentation. And in magic and religion, I would argue that they're both umbrellas, but the umbrella for magic is much more narrow than religion. Whereas like people nowadays, globally, politically, we look at a certain person based on their ethnicity or whatever they're wearing, and we assume a lot by them, unfortunately, based on what they look like. Like, oh, this person is a Muslim, this person is Jewish, this person is Orthodox, all this stuff. This person's Christian, Catholic, Protestant, Lutheran, all these different religions, denominations. Native American. My course this semester in Sacred Earth on Native American religion really opened my eyes to the violence and genocide that white colonial settlers have put onto Native American people. And like the privilege I have as a white European descent man. Yes, I have many factors against me, but that's not the point. I have a lot of factors going for me that I'm a privileged being of this continent, this country, so I have to take advantage of it. That's why I want to make this video, because I have the privilege of doing so. I feel like everyone can make the video, but being a white cis male in America is a big privilege right now. And I don't think that's a controversial statement either, but maybe to some people it is, I don't think many people are watching this video, so take what you want. But that's how I perceive it. I think being those things is a privilege right now. Yes, I'm gay. Yes, I cross-dress. Yes, I am schizophrenic. Yes, but that's not the point. I don't know. So, I'm adjusting myself, trying to get my thoughts. With religion, so this is where I'll get to my growth part with religion and magic over the semester. At the beginning of the semester, I was very anti-religion. And, I'm atheist. So, but I used to be like, all religion oppresses women, all religion promotes hate and stuff like that. Like, if your religion tells you to hate somebody or somebody else, then go find another religion. That was kind of my quote. And I have a very sacrilegious sense of humor. Like, I love sacrilegious jokes, because I was raised Catholic, but I quickly grew out of that. My parents did too. It didn't work for me, obviously. I think I would burn if I stepped into a church, but that was a joke. But I just think with magic, it was coming in. I already had some stigma that magic could be different or taboo, but I'm very open. I'm very open-minded. I was more open to magic, to be honest, than religion, which is a very weird thing to say, because I feel like most people would be the opposite. You'd be open to religion, not magic. But magic, I feel like, can be less harmful than religion. But here's the interesting part. Now that I've gotten to religion in my studies, in religion and violence, sacred earth, and just studying geopolitical-wise, as I've gotten myself more political, because being apolitical or non-political is a total privilege that I'm glad I got myself out of. Not all religion, I don't think. Religion serves a purpose, and so does magic. And I think that's a beautiful and brilliant statement. I'm not going to say brilliant. Beautiful statement to say, because I think for some people, it serves a purpose. Like, if somebody's grieving through something, they use magic or crystals, tarot cards. I've talked to my friends from Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Netherlands. Netherlands, he's atheist. Saudi Arabian, he's Muslim. And then my one close friend, Harrison, he's agnostic. My parents are agnostic. I'm atheist. So all different backgrounds. I've learned that intention is so different depending on your faith. And also, people are so selective too. Like, a lot of people who get, not triggered, but it's like I don't know what the word is. There's a certain flavor of my generation that takes words and, like, twists them a little bit, like faith versus religion versus belief versus practice, ritual. Like, they're all, they all have separate meanings, but, like, if you say them wrong to a certain person, they get very upset. So I think with religion, you have to be careful. And obviously with magic too, you have to be careful. I used to generalize things so much. Like, oh, it's religion, it's bullshit. Like, that, that's how I thought. I'm just being honest. And now I'm like, oh, it's religion. I don't understand it, but maybe it's for somebody else. And that's why I think so much stigma has developed with people, as people can't believe that it does serve a purpose for some people. As long as you're a good citizen, scratch word citizen, a good person, and you treat others with respect, you may not, I don't want people to always agree with me. That's my thing. Don't agree with me on everything I do, everything I say. You're allowed to disagree, as long as you treat me with respect. Respect is the bare minimum I ask for, which sometimes I don't get and sometimes I do get. So, and I've gotten some respect in classes, and I've gotten no respect in some classes for being who I am. And that's how you, like, sift people out. But I've learned in this course that magic and religion, yes, they're separate things, but they're also intertwined. And I think if you're going to talk about one facet of one, you have to talk about the other facet of the other. It's like a weighing scale. If one goes down, the other one's going to go up. It's like there's an unequal, you have to be dialectic, as I learned in DBT therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy for borderline personality disorder. Random fact drop. But, like, you have to talk about both sides to kind of get a good experience of what's going on. You can't just rely on one side of media and criteria. Like they say, propaganda. Like, if you're fed anti-religion propaganda all day, you're going to hate religion. But I try to get mixed sides of everything on magic and religion. And I think taking this course was such a key foundational step in just experiencing faith and belief. And I love the link classes too. Meeting with Dr. Tierney, she's so sweet. and not a fan of some people in that class, but that's a that's a different point. I love that I did the presentation in front of them, made eye contact with them too, and wore my mini skirt. But that just goes to show you, there's some people at this college that aren't ready for these conversations, and they take these classes, and they're immature, they're ignorant. They make fun of people like me, or I can take it. I can take it all day, but I don't like people making fun of other people in front of me. So I won't go on a rant on that, because that would be another 20 minutes. This video would be an hour long. But I think the beauty in this course is it's really shifted my perspectives and my openness. It's like a membrane, like a phospholipid bilayer membrane from biology, if you remember what that is, where I was so restricted to hearing the other side